The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
Looking for a safe and relaxed professional massage therapist and nutritionist?
Go to Nigeria, which is, if not the most corrupt nation in Africa, and it is, it could be the most corrupt nation in the world, Minister Farrakhan.
Oh, now, Mr. Wallace.
It is the most corrupt nation that I have ever covered. I've been there 25 years ago, and I've been there as recently as last year.
Fine. So what? 35 years old. That's what that nation is. Now, here's America, 226 years old. You love democracy, but there in Africa, you're trying to force these people into a system of government that you just have accepted. 30 years ago, black folk got the right to vote. You're not in any moral position to tell anybody how corrupt they are. You should be quiet and let those of us who know our people go there and help them get out of that condition. But America should keep her mouth shut wherever there's a corrupt regime, as much hell as America has raised on the earth. No, I will not allow America, or you, Mr. Wallace, to condemn them as the most corrupt nation on earth when you have spilled the blood of human beings. Has Nigeria dropped an atomic bomb and killed people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Have they killed off millions of Native Americans? How dare you put yourself in that position as a moral judge? I think you should keep quiet, because with that much blood on America's hands, you have no right to speak. I will speak because I don't have that blood on my hand. Yes, there's corruption there. Yes, there's mismanagement of resources. Yes, there is abuse. There's abuse in every nation on earth, including this one. So let's not play holy to moralize on them. Let's help them.
I'm not moralizing. I'm asking a question, and I got an answer.
Why would you put it as the most corrupt regime in the world? That doesn't make sense.
Can you think of one more corrupt?
Yeah, I'm living in one. I'm living in one. Yes, you've done a hell of a thing on this earth, so you should not be the one to talk. You should be quiet when it comes to moral condemnation, in my judgment.
On the other side of the continent, in northern Nigeria.
We're standing at the steps of the United States Capitol. I'm looking at the Washington Monument and beyond it to the Lincoln Memorial. And beyond that, to the left, to your right, the Jefferson Memorial. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of these United States, and he was the man who allegedly freed us. Abraham Lincoln saw in his day what President Clinton sees in this day. He saw the great divide between black and white. Abraham Lincoln and Bill Clinton see what the Kerner Commission saw 30 years ago when they said that this nation was moving toward two Americas, one black, one white, separate and unequal. And the Kerner Commission revisited their findings 25 years later and saw that America was worse today than it was in the time of Martin Luther King Jr. There's still two Americas, one black, one white, separate and unequal. Abraham Lincoln, when he saw this great divide, he pondered a solution of separation. Abraham Lincoln said he never was in favor of our being jurors or having of this nation. Abraham Lincoln said that if there were to be a superior or inferior, he would rather the superior position be assigned to the white race. There in the middle of this mall is the Washington Monument, 555 feet high. But if we put a 1 in front of that 555 feet, we get 1555, the year that our first fathers landed on the shores of Jamestown, Virginia, as slaves. In the background is the Jefferson and Lincoln Memorial. Each one of these monuments is 19 feet high. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd president, and 16 and 3 make 19 again. What is so deep about this number 19? Why are we standing on the Capitol steps today? That number 19, when you have a 9, you have a womb that is pregnant. And when you have a 1 standing by the 9, it means that there's something secret that has to be unfolded. Right here on this mall where we are standing, according to books written on Washington, D.C., slaves used to be brought right here on this mall in chains to be sold up and down the eastern seaboard. Right along this mall, going over to the White House, our fathers were sold into slavery. But George Washington, the first president of the United States, said he feared that before too many years passed over his head, this slave would prove to become a most troublesome species of property. Thomas Jefferson said he trembled for this country when he reflected that God was just and that his justice could not sleep forever. Well, the day that these presidents feared has now come to pass. For on this mall, here we stand in the capital of America, and the layout of this great city, laid out by a black man, Benjamin Banneker. This is all placed and based in a secret Masonic ritual. And at the core of the secret of that ritual is the black man. Not far from here is the White House. And the first president of this land, George Washington, who was a grand master of the Masonic order, laid the foundation, the cornerstone of this Capitol building where we stand. George was a slave owner. George was a slave owner. Now the president spoke today, and he wanted to heal the great divide. But I respectfully suggest to the president, you did not dig deep enough at the malady that divides black and white in order to effect a solution to the problem. And so today we have to deal with the root so that perhaps a healing can take place. Now, this obelisk at the Washington Monument is Egyptian, and this whole layout is reminiscent of our great historic past, Egypt. And if you look at the original seal of the United States, published by the Department of State in 1909, Gaylord Hunt wrote that late in the afternoon of July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress resolved that Dr. Benjamin Franklin, Mr. John Adams, and Mr. Thomas Jefferson be a committee to prepare a device for a seal of the United States of America. In the design proposed by the first committee, the face of the seal was a coat of arms measured in 6 quarters. That number is significant. 6 quarters, with emblems representing England, Scotland, Ireland, France, Germany, and Holland, the countries from which the new nation had been peopled. The eye of providence in a radiant triangle and the motto E pluribus unum were also proposed for the face of the seal. Even though the country was populated by so-called Indians and black slaves were brought to build the country, the official seal of the country was never designed to reflect our presence, only that of the European immigrants. The seal and the Constitution reflect the thinking of the founding fathers that this was to be a nation by white people and for white people. Native Americans, blacks, and all other non-white people were to be the burden bearers for the real citizens of this nation.
Greetings, beloved family. I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I bear witness that there is but one God. Welcome to the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad. And I'm going to be in studio with you up to 9 o'clock this morning, inshallah. And in a short while from now, we will open up the telephone lines and take your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. And you can send WhatsApp messages straight to me on 332-0214. So today is a very special day, and this weekend is a very special weekend. Today, we host African Expo number 11. Yes, at the Kwame Ture Center from 10 o'clock this morning all the way through to 6 o'clock this evening. And there's going to be food there, there's going to be art, there's going to be African clothing, there's going to be technology, cell phones, different toiletries, cosmetics, African delicacies, plants. There's going to be the setup of the medical practitioners, the massage therapists. Oh, it's going to be a fantastic day. a little scaled down to the last couple, as we're not using the entire car park. We haven't rented tents and spread them all across the compound. We're going to be inside the main auditorium and the conference room. So you are invited to come and support what great black enterprise is doing. That's all day today at the Kwame Ture Center. And then tomorrow, right back at the Kwame Ture Center for 3 p.m. We do not have the regular 11 o'clock meeting tomorrow, but we're out for 3 p.m. to host the live webcast of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaking to the world. This message is being translated in multiple languages all across Europe, Africa, Asia. It's being translated into French, Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, German, Arabic, multiple African languages. And we are anticipating it is being referred to as the last main public speech from Minister Louis Farrakhan. So, tomorrow from 3 p.m. at the Kwame Ture Center, we host this highly anticipated message. It's going to be ran on Gael TV, which is channel 107 on Flow, but also it's going to be on the website www.noi.org, and it's going to be available, as I said, all over the world. In Grenada, Gael is channel 8. In St. Kitts and Nevis, it's channel 120. In Antigua, it's channel 122. In the Cayman Islands and the Virgin Islands, it's channel 122 as well. In Turks and Caicos and Curacao, channel 122. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as St. Lucia, it's channel 132. And in Jamaica, now, channel 390. So all across the Caribbean region, Gael is seen and heard, and tomorrow, very special, very important day. So, beloved, a lot happening in the world. And as always, my mantra is from my beloved brother, Abdul Halim Muhammad, out of Houston, we have to connect the dots. I want to identify some double standards globally that have become so acceptable on the backdrop of some of the main issues that we're looking at internationally as well as regionally and locally. And starting off with the spate of home invasions that are taking place in Trinidad. Apparently, there were 18 home invasions for this year already. How many of you heard about? There have been in the past so many home invasions that have never ever made it to the news, but one local white family in West Moorings, and it becomes a national issue. I don't care what you say about the circumstances. I'm talking generally, generically. There have been news reports. Persons have come into our office and spoken about how gangsters have taken over their home, not even invade the home and run out. Run in the home and stay. Set up camp inside the home. The owner of the home goes to the police and tells the police, there are gangsters in my house right now. They're criminals with guns and drugs. And the police do not go. Not once, not twice, multiple times. And there was one case on Nelson Street where an elderly man was actually being interviewed by TV6 explaining that his home was invaded, criminals came in, took over it, ran him out. He went to the police and the police refused to go. Again, not once, not twice, but multiple times. So is it now that it's happened in West Moorings that home invasions are going to be started to be taken seriously by our national security services? Because they weren't been taken seriously before at all. And we can bring forth multiple witnesses to verify that. What is it with this social class distinction and discrimination in this country? What is it about us in this society that makes us believe that the street criminal who steals wallets and snatches gold chains is somehow less moral than the high office holder who's a criminal who's stealing from the national treasury? What is it with our double standards in this society that we see one as unworthy to be scorned, shunned, imprisoned, and have the key thrown away, but the other one can have excuses made for them for their criminal behavior as elected officials in our national offices? And then the double standards continue. We're talking about Ukraine now. Because I saw on the news that our government is looking to locate the Trinidadians who are out there in the Ukraine and bring them back. Beautiful, we support that 100%. But up to yesterday at the Kwame Ture Center, the father of one of the young people who are in Syria came to visit us in pain, hearing about our government looking to bring back the Trinidadians in Ukraine, but all the other countries from all around the world have brought back their citizens from Syria who went over there for the conflict that was taking place. But I have been reliably informed that there are still 12 Trinidadians that are trying to get back home and are being ignored out of Syria. And the father of one of them came to visit us yesterday. And he's puzzled. How is it that they're bringing back Trinidadians from Ukraine? Is it because it's the popular thing to do right now? And America and England and France and Germany and all these countries all over the world are talking about getting their citizens out of Ukraine, so we're doing it too. What about those of us who are still in Syria now as we speak? The ISIS conflict has ended a long time ago comparatively, and we still cannot bring back our Trinidadians. And I am not one of your bandwagonists. All right, so we're looking at the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And me, as a Muslim, I condemn any and all unjust wars, invasions, conquest unjustifiably, the taking of people's lands, and the denial of their own human rights and civil rights to decide on whether they want to be an independent sovereign state. We stand up for justice under all circumstances. However, I can't look at this from the perspective of my former colonizers, enslavers, rapers, and kidnappers. You see, we African people must have an independent position from which to examine world affairs. As a former colony, too many times we try to see the world from the point of view of America and England, and then follow fashion, whatever dictates they put out, and adopt an opinion. And I'm saying that African people have to be independent in thought. We have to have our own consciousness. So when I look at the big picture, yeah, it seems wrong to me what Russia is doing over there with Ukraine, But on the broader scheme of things, when I look at my black history, I don't see Russia as ever being involved in the slave trade. And I see Russia as a poorer country than England, America, and also France and Spain. But all of those countries got their wealth from kidnapping my African ancestors. I don't see Russia in that history. And I remember the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, when Russia had a military base in Cuba, and America saw it as a threat and prepared themselves for nuclear war because there was a military base 90 miles away from the coast of America. And now Russia is saying, well, if Ukraine becomes a part of NATO, then they are literally a member of a military conglomerate that together as a union is in possession of serious weapons of mass destruction. Now, Cuba was 90 miles away from America, and they were seen as a major threat, and America set up military bases all around. But the border of Ukraine and Russia literally a meter away from each other. So if we look at it from the point of view of England and America or NATO, as you all like to do, then you, not me, you should appreciate the Russian people not wanting to have a military union that they're not a part of on the border of them. I'm not thinking that way. That's how you all think. So all of a sudden now you cannot understand that principle? That all these European countries, an unfriendly nation sets up a military base near to them, they take it as a threat. So how come you have a problem with them doing the same thing? And what is even more double standard about this is, again, it reminds me of those terrorist acts that took place in France some years ago at the same time that people in Nigeria were suffering, and all of us African people shedding a tear for 12 people who were killed in France when over 1,000 people were killed in Nigeria, but us African people crying for the 12 people who died in France, but ignoring the 1,000 plus that were killed in Nigeria. Same mentality now with the Ukrainians versus the Palestinians. How come we are so sensitive and sympathetic towards what is happening to the Ukrainian people? And we are. Any of us with a touch of humanity and compassion for our fellow man would feel the pain for and with the Ukrainian people. And we would lift our voices and lend our voices in condemnation of the oppression that the Ukrainian people are going through. But why do you sit back so quietly and watch when worse happens to the Palestinian people? And the Israelis constantly oppressing them, putting them in these township-type ghettos under an apartheid system, denying them of their rights, shooting and killing them in the streets. And then the real Jews, the African Jews, the real Hebrews, the African Hebrews, the real Israelites, the African Israelites, also being victims of a kind of apartheid under the new European Jews out there in Israel. But you see, when African people are victims of oppression, it's as if it's normal. And we somehow find a comfort zone when African people or the Palestinian people are being oppressed. And it is as if we have to wait for a cue from Europe and America before we are permitted to feel pain. What a modern day slave we are when it comes to these kinds of issues. So it's like we're looking at the world news. Whose side is America on? Whose side is England on? Okay, so they're supporting the Ukrainian people. Let me put up a Ukrainian flag. Jeez. Fine, no problem. But don't have a double standard about it. Why aren't you lifting your voices in support of the Palestinian people? It's a disgrace, beloved. And the Palestinians are probably so confused over this right now. Can you imagine how the Palestinian people must be feeling at this point? Say, wait a minute, the whole world is feeling sympathy for Ukraine. They're probably there right now saying, but what about us? What about the struggle that we have been going through since 1947? You see, justice is sensitive. It's balanced on both sides. Think of how those Trinidadians in Syria are feeling. When they listen to the news and hear the government is bringing back whatever Trinidadians there are in Ukraine. But we are still here. It's going on about some of them 7 or 8, 9 years. Persons who were over there as children, Trinidadians, who were in Syria as children, who are now adults, trying to get back home, totally ignored. But we know if it was some white people or even the people that you call Syrians here, we know that if it was some of them, you would have sent a private plane for them. And that's why it's disgraceful again. This rock star, Roger Waters of the band Pink Floyd, a prolific songwriter and musician, known for that 1979 hit, We Don't Need No Education. He, minding his own business, at home in England, looking at the news, sees this story about these 2 black children from Trinidad who were in Syria, and their government refused to help them get back home. And he, Roger Waters of the rock band Pink Floyd, took it upon himself to make arrangements for those 2 black children in Syria, the 2 Muslim children, to be reunited with their mother in Trinidad. Do we have to sit back and wait for another rock star or rap star to pick up on the news some story about some African Trinidadians who are being oppressed in a foreign country, and that they bring them back here instead of our own government? It's a terrible, terrible scene. But the double standard is reflected all around. And this home invasions, man. Of course, we condemn the killings and all. In fact, why do I even have to keep saying that? Okay, right. The disclaimer is out. We condemn all of that, all the crimes. But we're concerned about when it happens to poor black people in East Port of Spain. It's reported, sometimes face to face. The owner of the home is face to face in front of an officer in the station, informing him in detail about it. It's nothing about, okay, well, a suspect, I think he looks like this, or he ran in that direction, or we last saw him in some place. No, he's in my home right now. And the police still don't go. And there was one particular case with a so-called community leader who invaded someone's home. The owner of the house went to the police multiple times. They ended up burning down her house. To this day, no justice. But front page of all of the newspapers now, home invasion, Home invasion. If it was another home invasion in East Port of Spain, would it have gotten that kind of coverage? And yeah, we all already know about what happens with the murder and the kidnapping of our black girls. I'm saying to us, brothers, on the street, in the community, we have to start thinking like vigilantes when it comes to men who abuse women. We have to start thinking on the level of taking matters into our own hands to the degree that we can be constitutionally facilitated in making citizens' arrests. Yes, that is legal in our society. We have to start to consider if our communities are not protected by the state in the same way that they overprotect other communities. And we must do it ourselves. And we have to start thinking like an army for God. That is why the brothers train and prepare themselves. That is why we spread that consciousness throughout the community. That's why we tell the young brothers, put down the guns, put down the drugs, put down the alcohol, pick up a book, get knowledge, plant some food, grow something, spend your time more wisely. Let's pool our resources. Let's unite. Stop the petty squabbling and conflict. Settle our differences and come together in the name of unity, beloved. So, the whole world is watching. The Ukraine. And I mean, there's so much taking place. And I'm looking forward so much to hearing what Minister Farrakhan is going to say about this situation tomorrow, inshallah. But I want to give us a little background on this hypocrisy. And you know what's so sad about it? To me, there's no difference. No difference at all between the attitude of the Russians now and the attitude of the Americans and the British. You talking about oppression against the Ukrainian people when you are living on a country that you stole from the Native American Indians? What hypocrisy! And in England, they're condemning the dictatorship tactics of Russia when they are wealthy. England is a very small country geographically. It's the same size as Guyana, but probably has 100,000 times more wealth than Guyana does. How did that happen? You stole that wealth from Africa. And according to Dr. Eric Williams in Capitalism and Slavery, you got free slave labor from African people, which was the engine behind the driving of the Industrial Revolution, which made your country even richer. So you steal wealth from Africa, steal people from Africa, then enslave them in all these overseas plantations and colonies, and then you extract that wealth too, in addition to the wealth that you stole directly from Africa. So you stole wealth directly and indirectly from Africa. But now you have moral authority to talk about the Ukrainian people. You're a hypocrite and a devil. We have a short video, man. It's just like 3 minutes long. And I saw it yesterday. And I've seen it before, but it reminded me. The video is entitled Farrakhan in Russia. And it showed when Minister Farrakhan went to Russia and he landed at the airport and all the Muslims came out, all the white Muslims, and they put a cloak on him and gave him these ornaments, and they did a martial arts demonstration for him with sword fighting, and they gave him a military escort throughout Russia. Do you know it's estimated by a group, an anti-Islamic group that is monitoring the growth and spread of Islam and Muslims? There's this estimate that they have that by sometime soon, within the next decade or so, that the military of Russia will be 25% Muslim. 25%. Now, it's likely not the 25% that's involved in all this stuff going on there. Yeah, we condemn it. Yes, we condemn it. But we also condemn what the Israelis are doing to Palestine with the backing of United States and the United Kingdom. All right, so this issue here has to be looked at just a little bit. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but just a little historical background on it. And it's all centered around after World War II, which ended in 1945. And anytime there's a major war, and of course, one side wins, so they sit together in a meeting with a map and carve up the new territory among the victors. They say, you take this, you take that, I'll take these parts here, you take those. So after World War II, there was something called the Marshall Plan, which was established at the Bretton Woods Conference in New Hampshire in America. And they said, okay, so we won the war. This is America, England, and their allies. We won the war. This is how we're going to set up things. And of course, you try to totally incapacitate your former enemy, which in this case was Germany. So they established NATO. And you have all of these military powers with just one remaining superpower, who's America. And so they said, look, we just finished this war. A lot of people died. A lot of property was destroyed. Right, so we want to establish ourselves in such a way that you can't even wage war against us anymore. So they established NATO. And then Russia now said, well, look, we need to do something too. Because if all these people are against us, we cannot have them as a powerful united force, and we aren't united either. So they came up with what was called the Warsaw Pact, which was a treaty signed in Poland between the Soviet Union, which at the time, USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or Russia. Russia is the dismantled version of, same way you have United States of America, you have USSR, right? So the Warsaw Pact was between USSR and 7 other Eastern Bloc socialist republics of Central and Eastern Europe. This was May 1955, during what was called the Cold War, which was not a war where they're actually firing missiles and dropping bombs on each other, but it was an arms race. I have more weapons now, so you get more weapons. I add some more into my arsenal, you add some more into your arsenal. And we strategically place our bases in places where we can attack you, and you do the same where you can attack us. So the Warsaw Pact was the military complement to the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance, the regional economic organization for the socialist states or communist states. There's a difference, but I won't make an issue out of the difference. So this Warsaw Pact was created in reaction to NATO and in particular West Germany. So West Germany went with NATO. East Germany was part of the Warsaw Pact. And then the Berlin Wall was like a dividing line down the middle. So you had East Berlin and West Berlin. And so this Warsaw Pact, dominated by Russia, was their balance of power to NATO. Now, I want you to understand that there has been billions of dollars of investments from that time to now in spying, attempting to destabilize, sending in agents in each of these socialist countries to do whatever they can to dismantle communism. Right now, the big issue, you call people Muslim terrorists, and there's a terrorist watch list. Well, back then it was the communist watch list. And they wanted to blacklist anyone, they called them a communist. They called Malcolm X a communist. They called Paul Robeson communist. They called C.L.R. James and Claudia Jones from Trinidad communists. That is how they branded or labeled someone. Just aligned them with this communism or socialist philosophy. I'll have to continue this briefly when we come back, and then I'll open up the telephone line. Stay with us.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
This is Iwer, the big boss in the business. Well. Girl, I want it now. Give me everything right now. Ooh, girl, I want it now. Give me everything right now. Ooh,
Looking for a safe and relaxed professional massage therapist and nutritionist? Look no further. Nature's Touch with Empress Judy and Associates offers a natural approach to better health. Treat yourself to a professional massage therapy and nutrition advice in a safe and relaxed atmosphere. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and soul at Nature's Touch Therapy. For an appointment, please call or WhatsApp 1-868-398-8282 or visit our Facebook page. Remember, your health is our responsibility at Nature's Touch.
Yes, Trinidad and Tobago, a musical showdown of medium and large steel bands from around the country will take place on Saturday, 26 February from 5 p.m. Center stage at the Safe Zone Carnival City, Queen's Park, Savannah. Pan Trinbago, in collaboration with the NCC, present a pan event musical showdown in the Big Yard. See NCC's website or call the NCC office at 622-1718 for grandstand and part group ticket details. This event is supported by Digicel and Angostura.
Carnival, come back.
Me say you wake up in the morning and you just realize Carnival come back again.
Alright, maybe that isn't 100% true, but hear this. TSB and T-Dot Sided alongside Iwer George presents Carnival Come Back. Take bamboo, gal. Take bamboo, riding, gal. Carnival Monday, not good again.
This is Iwer George, the big boss of the business. Carnival Monday, the 28th, 3 p.m., Queen's Park, Savannah. Carnival Come Back.
3 p.m. Carnival Monday, Queen's Park, Savannah. People, young brother, I'm gonna be there live and live DJ to be coming to.
Shake it properly.
People, you need vaccination on entry.
Come out in your Monday wear. Come out with your team from 3 p.m. till. Get your female tickets started at $220 and male tickets at $250 with food inclusive. Get those tickets online at suntix.com. Also, book your cabanas. $2,000 for groups of 9 with coolers and food inclusive. All this happening at the Queen's Park, Savannah. Carnival, come back.
Dimash Gras 2022. From the creative mind of Davlin Thomas, Deja Vu, echoes of Carnival coming, presenting the finalists for the First Citizens, Kings and Queens competition. 10 best of the best in Kaiso, with guest performances including Bungie Garland, Nadia Batson, Iwer George, Lyrical, Swappy, Farmer Nappy, Skinny Fabulous, Flax, and much more. The magic happens on the big stage at Carnival City, Queen's Park, Savannah. Sunday, 27th at 7 p.m. Grandstand and Pod Posse tickets also available at NCC's head office and online at ticketgateway.com. For more information, contact the NCC at 622-1718. This event is supported by Digicel, Angostura, and TTT. Dimash Gras.
Patrice again. I go drink blue water and mind my business. I go drink blue water and mind my business. Who me? I only drink one brand. Blue water inside the house and the barn. When I need to hydrate, I drink blue water. I'm feeling great. When you see we out on the road and we going hard, take a sip of blue water. That's the #1 brand. Drink blue water and mind my business. I go drink blue water and mind my business. Me and you join in the blue water crew. The taste, the vibe, blue water is the truth. When the hot sun come, I drink blue water to cool me down. When you see we out on the road and we going hard, take a sip of blue water. That's the #1. I go drink blue water and mind my business.
Season 22. Defend we culture.
Drop your keys and bow your knees, for I am the notorious midnight robber.
February 22nd to 28th.
I am here to defend my culture.
Season 22.
I am here to introduce you to season 22.
Defend we music.
We have soca, we have pop, we have calypso, we even have the doubles man.
Sound Forge. Culture lives on.
To make sure my culture lives and not just survive.
Season 22. February 22nd to 28th at Sound
We
Forge.
spirit must live on.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM radio. Here my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
There's a new taste in town. Maracas Bacon Shack at 79 Robert Street in Woodbrook brings you bacon shot, kingfish, fries, shrimp, aloo pies, and delectable sauces to tease your taste buds. Walk in, order with food drop, or get parking lot pickup at 488 Bake or 75 Shot. Need catering? No problem. Call or email tastemaracas@gmail.com. Follow Taste Maracas on social media for all the delicious details. Taste Maracas, the new taste in town. Corner of Roberts and Rosalino Streets. See you soon.
Better vision for your physical eyes, and through the eyes of faith, let healing arise in your mind, body, and spirit. At Natural Heal Ministries, we teach kingdom principles for living that brings the blessing of God to your mind, body, and soul.
NHM Professional Associates are located at number 10 Moody Stewart Street, Monterey Post, San Fernando. For more info, contact Dr. Desmond Phillip at NHM on 349-3494.
NHM Professional Associates can be heard live on the Street 919 FM every Saturday from 9:05 to 9:55 a.m.
Doctors Desmond and Angina Phillips present a series of healing retreats from February 27th to Sunday 6th March at the Eco Resort in Toko. This includes delicious healthy foods, refreshing healing drinks, learn DIY healing techniques, mini seminars, and natural therapies. Price plans are for cost and full coverage excluding transport. Select plans. One day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at $600. Monday 28th February, Tuesday 1st March, Wednesday 2nd March, and Sunday 6th March. One night, one day from 5 p.m. cost $1,100. Sunday 27th February, Monday 28th February, and Tuesday 1st March, or 2 days, 2 nights from 5 p.m. That costs $2,100. Sunday 27th of February and Tuesday 1st March. For more information, reservations, and bookings, call 336-5441 or visit the website at www.empathLimited.com for online bookings. Empath for love and healing.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. So there's a need for brotherhood. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Brotherhood is demanded. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential, it is urgent, and it is compulsory. But the time demands brotherhood.
society fears for its economic future, racial tensions are always aggravated. The aim of Almighty God is to bring the black man and woman together. The aim of Almighty God is that we, no matter how divided we have been in the past, must experience unity in order to gain the success that we seek and the progress that we desire. There is no way that a divided people can build a future. Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. So there's a need for brotherhood. But if you walk the earth proud and arrogant, you never learn your lesson because you think you already know. And how the hell could you know and be in the shape that we're in? How can there be any brotherhood if there's not even the honoring of a word?
Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
But the Quran and the Bible.
All right, welcome back and welcome to the second hour of the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. We're going up to 9 o'clock, and let me just finish up on this very brief and elementary explanation of the genesis behind the situation between Russia and Ukraine. So basically, you had World War II. After World War II, the so-called Allied forces, America, England, and their associates, came together to even further strengthen themselves militarily, and they created NATO. Then, the communist countries said, well, if they are consolidating their military forces, we have to do the same. And they established the Warsaw Pact. So now, instead of just America versus Russia as two superpowers, you had America and their allies, NATO, and Russia and their allies, the Eastern Bloc or the Warsaw Pact. Both of them on this persistent military expansion. But the main part of the war was ideology. There was this fight against communism and the branding of people as communists, etc. But, of course, the Warsaw Pact eventually began to decline. So, the communist countries invaded Czechoslovakia in 1968. And then Albania withdrew from the pact. And then slowly but surely, in particular between 1989 and 1990, you saw a collapse. And don't think that it happened just like that. Again, there was espionage, there was spying, there were traitors, there were infiltrators. There were persons who would be born in Russia or born in Hungary or Romania or Poland who would have been hired as agents to help bring down the governments. And so the Warsaw Pact began to unravel with a series of revolutions in 1989. East Germany withdrew. Well, not formally withdrew, but remember there was the reunification of Germany in 1990. So the Berlin Wall came down in 1989, And there was no more West Germany and East Germany. You now just had Germany. And Germany was a Western country. So East Germany didn't exist anymore, so they're no longer in the Warsaw Pact. Then on February 25th, 1991, at a meeting in Hungary, the pact was declared at an end. And then even after the Warsaw Pact ended in February 1991, the final blow to communism was dealt in December 1991 when the USSR themselves disbanded. So look at it. NATO is established after World War I, late 1940s. The Warsaw Pact is established, early 1950s. You have America and her forces, you have Russia and her forces, and then slowly but surely, the communist countries start to dismantle each of these revolutions. Starting in Kazakhstan, then spreading to Poland. Kazakhstan 1986, Poland 1988, all of these individual revolutions. And then Hungary, East Germany, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, and Romania. And even after Russia collapsed, Cambodia, which is a communist country as well, established a new constitution which distanced them from communism too. Now, when something like this happens, just like with the Ottoman Empire, which was an Islamic kingdom that was dismantled after World War I, you always have those fringe movements and ideological groups that still have this mission to re-establish whatever it was that was lost. So there are so many movements that wanted to re-establish the idea of the Ottoman Empire, just like there'll be so many movements that want to re-establish the ideology of Hitler, and so many movements that want to re-establish the Soviet bloc or the Eastern European bloc of countries, the communist countries. And Putin was of that ideology. But here he is now, with NATO actually coming right up to his doorstep. And he's saying, no, Ukraine cannot become a member of NATO. That's what it's more about, rather than them just wanting to take over the country. We understand and we condemn the wrong that they're doing in that scenario, but we also have to properly understand it instead of just jumping on this bandwagon narrative that America's good, England is good, Russia's evil. End of story. No, let's not be that ignorant. So there's always been this military expansion competition called the arms race. America gets more weapons, then Russia gets more weapons. Then Russia gets more weapons, then America gets more weapons. And similar to getting more weapons, America gets more allies, Russia gets more allies. It's a constant competition. So now Russia has fallen, or not Russia, but the USSR has fallen. And now it's like NATO is encroaching right up to his doorstep with military bases literally next door. Not 90 miles away, like with Cuba and the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. No, this is next door. And that is what they're reacting to. All right, let's open up the phone lines. 342-0081 and 4665391. Remember, today from 10 o'clock, African Expo at the Kwame Ture Center all day long. And then tomorrow, we host the Speech to the World from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from 3 p.m. at the Kwame Ture Center again. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, Brother David. What a nice program. I'm learning plenty from you. I want to ask a question. When Ukraine and Russia, and Ukraine was in the Federation, and Russian Federation?
Yeah, they were part of Russia until their independence. Bit by bit, each of these countries were declaring independence. And the more that you have each of these countries declaring independence, is the smaller and weaker Russia became. Remember, they already collapsed as a union. So it's like imagine the United States of America breaking up into 50 different countries. Or not all at the same time, but breaking up, let's say 30 countries remain. And then slowly but surely, they start to leave one by one. But imagine as well though, if that were to happen to America, each of these countries leaving one by one, and then one of the neighboring countries, right on the borderline of America, were to set up military bases. See?
Yeah. Because what I was telling a guy when I was looking, I still listening to him. America right now, listen to me, Brother David, I have family born and that is in the military, right? Right now, America has injustice with our people. There's been cases that for us, we are getting a super sentence than white people. So we supremacists and them still pushing the Jim Crow movement in America. Now, you feel Russia don't know that these injustice to our people, minorities in America, taking place. So when America started to preach a kind of holiness that they are better than they are like God, and they try to help humanity, and the injustice are taking place of other people that live in America right now. Because look at understand something. Look at the policewoman who killed Donkey Rice. She gets, I think it's 2 years, and she goes to make a work. A year and 6 months. You could imagine it. And the judge, I started this very good. The judge was so compassionate with the police and not the family of the victim. You can see where I'm coming from? And the thing that is, right now in America, if had a black fella right now was working in FedEx, he went into a white neighborhood to drop a package, but probably he didn't get it adjusted right. And he finally get it adjusted. You know some white guy stand up once down the road with a gun, and the fella had to run a FedEx, had to jump back in the book, and the one that took onto the island, I-95. Right now, thank God he's alive, he's 23 years old, his mother. There's not some black lawyer, I like what they're taking at time. And what they say, they said it's going after FedEx, because when you start talking to the FedEx head director, he say, you're okay, go to the police. And the police on that side of cover. Right now, there's a serious case now taking place of our people going to be white neighborhood. But you know, I like the NACP that's taking a stand, and you see the Black Panther.
Yeah.
They're telling them, what I like to do for the black movement and them, so they're operating in America, and in Thailand, and educate yourself. They're telling these white people to do this on them. If you say God also will stop them. No peace, no justice. Because but at the moment, I don't like America. I don't like America. Because when I see the injustice, it's a right here. Because look at the woman that gets killed, okay, it's a right, automatically, yes. But when it's happening in the black and in the minorities in our neighborhoods and them, you don't see the amount of police coming and things, and you know, and everybody come out and they solidarity. Something is wrong with other people. You know, something totally wrong with other people. I did not feel that. But, and I listen to something else. When you watch Malcolm X, I listen not Malcolm X, say, you're marching in America, so you're right of the same equal rights of the white. But you realize you are being told, you are peaceful, you are being told, shoot down, put drugs at, and be peaceful, and you're still not getting the same equality. It has to take a different course. And I never let Malcolm X go. He stands for something that, hey, yes, you do the right thing, and still get the right thing done. Getting justice. What point did you make? What point did you already make? So I said it was protest over there, because it wasn't for Malcolm X, and the protest of Martin Luther, they would have never read the civil act right into law stating that black people are being equal.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for calling in, my brother. Caller, good morning.
Good morning to you, David Mohammed. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah. I listened to your program this morning. Well, it's a blessing unto all the African people around the Caribbean, around the world, and all that. I was following up some documentary on World War II. Starting sometime this week here. And I get to find out that before World War II started, Poland invaded Ethiopia with that great leader, Selassie.
Yes.
Was the leader of Ethiopia at the time. And the rest of the world, like America and England and Italy and France and all of them, not Russia, they stood by and knew and they said it is wrong what Poland is doing, but they never did nothing. And they watched Poland drop chemical bombs and poor innocent people in Ethiopia and kill hundreds of thousands of Ethiopians. Hitler, World War II started soon after that, maybe months or a year after that. And Hitler was saying, you see what they're doing to Russia now, saying that he's a tyrant, he's this, he's a monster and all that. Hitler was saying, right, that he need to attack Poland. The same thing he did to the Jews. They said, well, they're banning the Jews in them, and Hitler was a murderer and all that. You know what Hitler said? Hitler said, how come the Jews leave Israel black and come back white, you know? You understand? But again, the true history about Hitler never been told, you know.
Well,
but all people following up the history.
I was never aware that Hitler said that, but okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, you understand? People never, you see, they never told the true history of Hitler. But they're throwing up the history, what they tell people about Hitler. And that is the problem, you know. You understand? But black people keep following. You see, they do research nothing. You understand? But what they do, America is good now. You understand? But no time in history, Russia, you understand, was forcing vaccination on the world, you know. Or they call it jab, you understand? No time at all is Russia enslaved black people, you know. You understand? And what's the nation today, you understand, who's sitting around a table and plotting. I have information on my phone right now, since a year ago, where these world leaders sit down around a table, the richest people on the planet. And know what they're saying? African people, they need to get rid of 3 billion people off the planet. But hear what they're saying? African people, we must wipe them off the planet first. Because they've been experimented on. You understand? They are worthless and they contribute nothing to the world economy. So we need to kill African people first, and they started from in Africa and then spread out to the world wherever Africa heavily populated around the world. Right? And here they say they're going to do it through jobs. Ask yourself this question: do we have an intelligence agency here in Trinidad picking up information on what these people is doing and what they are saying and what they are plotting to do? We have a black prime minister here in Trinidad and here jobs save lives. Why is these people sitting and plotting to white African people off the planet with jobs? And it have people saying no and talk shows backing up that. Yes, the prime minister is right. Follow the prime minister. I have this information on my phone. I don't know if the prime minister have it. Because I asked a question, do we have an intelligence agency in Trinidad picking up data, what is going on around the world?
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your call. But just in case it's not yet known, and of course we support the bringing back of any Trinidadians in Ukraine, we must do that. We must make it a top priority to bring back whatever Trinidad and Tobago citizens there are in Ukraine. But there are also Trinidad and Tobago citizens out in Syria who have been there much, much longer under extraordinarily difficult circumstances, who have been trying to get back in to Trinidad and are being ignored. Caller, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum. Tonight, Hakim Mohammed.
Walaikum salam.
You know, there's one Trinidadian in Ukraine. One Trinidadian, and I am sure I can put my neck on a block that he is a black. I could bet that.
Don't make me laugh, please.
I'm telling you, joking. I understand how they operate. You see, he went up to Qatar. I know they don't start to negotiate with Caribbean Airlines for a flight. You know, long since some morning they had the memorandum of understanding, and also with this Prime Minister for a flight to Africa.
Yeah. Well, remember the Africa CARICOM Summit stated that we will have direct flights, at least from one African country to one Caribbean country. So we don't have to go through Europe and America and all these detours, which make the tickets so much more expensive.
Exactly, save money and time. Also, you know, and Brother David, you see what's going on in Ukraine up there? And listening to the reporters and you can see but listen, if Putin then had nuclear weapons, they find a way to run into him and lick him up, you know. They'll find a way to do it, but because they have nuclear weapon also, and they know that Russia is not easy, you understand? So the pretext, you understand? They can't get that to go inside of there. But I listening to the reporters, you can see the bias in them. You know. And you know, when they're running into Iraq, you understand? All of those European countries, as a matter of fact, Tony Blair is the one that's supposed to lie that the man has nuclear weapon, right? And then Brother David, this I tell you, the minds of the European. If I was a writer, I put down a book on the minds of the European. I understand how they operate.
But listen, do you imagine, right?
Huh?
Imagine, because I was in England late last year, and it was announced on the news that Tony Blair was going to receive some high honor. He was either going to be knighted by the Queen, or I think he was going to be made Sir Tony Blair, right? And do you know, I hope I have the figures correct here, but within less than 24 hours, there were over 100,000 signatures in a petition saying not to make Tony Blair a sir or to be knighted by the Queen because of the lies that he told and how consequential they were against the Iraqi people. Because those lies, it wasn't just ordinary lies that gave someone else a bad reputation. They were lies that caused the mass genocide against the Iraqi people.
Yeah, men, women and children, women and children. That lie that he told, supported by what's his name, to support
Bush.
Bush. You understand? In that whole economic, and then they went into this place to Libya. You understand? And the lick up Libya, Gaddafi, and these people are not easy, you know. They come here, down here, you know, with they are the ones who are Venezuelan, running all over the place, you know. You understand? And they support all these. Even like they stand together. I think the only people who don't stand together is the African people, you know. I think we are the only people who don't stand behind one another, you know. You see what happened in Westmoreland? You see how the chamber and all them come out, you understand? In support, you understand?
And the news media.
And the news media, you understand? And they keep pushing that, you understand? But we don't stand up with one another. For instance, no, Fali is a fella, I like Fali, you know. He's young, and he seems to be an intelligent person, you understand? But I like him. But you see, you have to like yourself and your people before anybody else, you know. Because everybody else like themselves, excepting we. You understand? You had to come out and deal with. Now, I heard them said something about the deal what they had down with the airport down there. The people were not properly, you understand? It was not a good deal, you understand? As far as their land is concerned, and he's going to go over that. I love that, Fali. I appreciate that. But I want you to also deal, you understand, with the entitlement for people in Tobago. And don't let no last come, you understand? Get land in front of them. Because when you go back to Tobago, fight a lot of rebellion in Tobago. One with the history of Tobago Valley, and see what went on there. There are no Indian down inside down there rebelling against the colonial masters and this sort of thing. It's your people, your ancestors, and they so deal with them first. Deal with them and forget the others because the others they don't care about it. You see what happened down in central down there, the prime minister went down there. They protest. They want more land. The best visa package any group of workers ever get in this country is the Caroni workers who are just cutting cane, they implant new cane. They get the best visa, they get land, and then they come back again. Here the children separate, they come back again and graduate. And the EU said they given I think $200 million to go into farming. They said that money is for them. They fight. Then Bastan Bharat is his name, not Bastan Bharat now. The one they had in agriculture. Who used to be with Satmaraj, I can't remember his name, you understand? He was an old Western radio station. He told them when he was in the ministry that the money is not for them. They do all kind of things, they go all about, they go until it's up in Europe, and then they get somebody money, and they had money here. They say that they're getting money as soon as this government came into power. They give them $50 million. They say they still have money for them. You understand? And then they come in again, you see the protesting that they want land, and the Rambaran say they will get titles. And our ancestors who did everything prepare for them. You understand? Now they just come and do like you, be ungrateful. You understand? Who prepare everything for them. The benefit of the certain death of our people, you understand? We ain't getting nothing. And you tell me in Tobago, despite you have people who have the land. The other thing, come on, Mr. Prime Minister. It's time that you understand, you get with Fari and deal with that. That's a serious issue, holding back black people from going forward. Brother David, it's not easy. Before I go on and say something, Brother David.
Yes.
If I should die sometime here, I'll look at that. Let me tell you something. It's not COVID. You understand? It's not COVID. It's the hospital. Over 2 years now, I have a echocardiogram down the side down there. The first time they sent me, they gave me out the call. They gave us almost 6 or 7 months for the call. When they called me, they said you had to get a blood test. I went to do the blood test. When I went back, after I was 5 or 6 months, they can't get the result. I went back again, they called me to come back again. When I went back, they told me that they're not doing that now because of the COVID. You understand? But when I home, I still laugh. But when I home, I get a call. You know what they tell me? The person called me because he stepped to because they saw the appointment was on the 26th of last month. You know what they tell me? Don't come down. Don't come. That's how I say. You have an appointment, you know, to see where's the problem with that echogram or what that do. And imagine the hospital could say, don't come. So if I die now, you know what they will say? It's COVID kill me. But I'm telling them something. I had a medical then here and everything was good. Except I had a problem long time. Everything else was good. So you tell now COVID will kill if I die.
All right.
I have to die at some time, but I want to say that
we heard you loud and clear, and we've taken note. Thank you so much, Aruka. Caller, thank you for holding.
Good morning to you, doctor and philosopher.
Good morning, sir.
Doctor, rainy morning in Georgia, but nevertheless, we got to get on with the people business. Our coming to Russia, but let me just touch a bit with the last bread and the land tenure. To the end of the day, Clarence Rambarat and Avinash Singh, all his ancestors and all those who are asking for land and money, they came on the same ship. So regardless to political parties, they see, regardless to which political vehicle, they will unite and take the land and money. Let me move on. My brother, as we watch and the world watch what's happening with Ukraine and Russia, let me say this to move on. It is sad to see that life being lost. However, when they went in and killed Gaddafi, who wanted to unite, to bring the United States of Africa, we did not hear the human cry from the world. As the world staged Europe and America, they were in their glee. 8 o'clock as a student, you taught us about the hidden hand and conspiracy. America's real goal is to get the people in Russia to rival against Putin. Even though what he is doing innocent life, I'm against it. But understand America with its dirty game. As they bring trade sanctions, yes, England, Canada, you name it, there is certain deals behind closed doors which they will not put sanction on Putin. You see, for radio time, I got in late. I can't go where I really want to go. But all I want to say, I wait to hear Farrakhan is this afternoon or tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I wait to, it's tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
I will be listening with bated breath. You see, I tell you, doctor, I tell you, it's exciting times to live in the world right now. Because I tell you, America will not play fast and lose herself to go into Russia. And I tell you, again, let me repeat this because for the people who are controversial, let me say this. I am not sanctioning what Putin is doing. I condemn the killing of innocent lives.
Absolutely.
However, there is a hidden hand. Understand what's going on in Europe. And I tell you, Putin understands. Now you realize China and India and one other country, they did not vote with the rest of NATO. Why? These are questions people need to ask themselves. And I tell you, people, think this thing is deeper than Putin. America and England and Canada and Germany, they understand the word atrocity. I tell you, doctor, it's so heavy. I do not have the time. I want other callers. But I want to say to the intellectual minds, as we feel sorry for the people in Ukraine, understand America have something up her sleeve. But I remind you, when they went in and they allow our black brother, President Obama, to kill Gaddafi, as he was about to bring the United States of Africa, the world did not lift a finger. Doctor, heavy stuff this morning. Time does not permit me, but I say, Baba, it calls for intelligent thinking. Kabak it out now.
Thank you. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Morning.
Morning. How you doing?
About the thing all they're having today, what is 11 o'clock to start?
Well, 10.
Oh, but what's in the rainbow? But comment though, me and Revelation comment, but okay, I want to do that too. No.
Okay, what about
you see that? Yeah, about this whole such a war conflict, Brother David. Let me tell you where this thing really coming from. You see the summit that they had in October and the final agreement with all these world leaders, nations, that they must reduce its population. They have different strategies in doing it, and with the people and them who not following global affairs, they realizing this is the agenda upon we. The same agenda was always talked about on the radio. But it has the only way to encounter that is truth. And black people still not trying to know themselves, who is we. And then we will be able to change the whole formulation of the agenda. You hear what I'm saying? But with the truth of the origin of humanity, you see, they don't want black people to know themselves too. You know, them don't know the earth heading to some kind of climax or earth destruction. They're talking all, they're even down to seed. They have seed in an underground kind of chamber. The same seeds and plants, all manner plants to increase of a total global destruction. And they don't know it, but it's we still partying, prancing, drinking rum and bar, having a good time, and we're not studying nothing about because we are even studying the plant. But they would have an acre and clean like a whistle. I don't start a big bag between the soursop. You hear what I'm saying? I have a big piece of soursop. The tried burning down a little piece, but I have to wet it every day with water. Because that's envy and jealousy of black people self. You hear what I'm saying?
But they're dead though. But anyhow, I'm saying the agenda we have to gear up for, Brother David. We have to gear up for that. We have to. Agriculture is we lifesaver right now. We have to be more. There's a different world we're going and see. That is what I've been talking for years. I'm trying to get that thing back before head.
All right.
And look, Brother David, give me 1 little second. Let me tell you something. You see, always taking place here is to reduce Earth's population. That is the whole. Everybody agree upon that. It's just different strategy, and they will work one sort of biological warfare on we black people. It's here pull up with one sex, promiscuous sex with sex club, right? A lot of black women on that, right?
All right, thank you, Soldier Ants. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, David.
Good morning to you.
Now, last week I think I told you that they shook the dog. You see what's going on with Russia right now and Ukraine. But biggest puppeteer is the warmonger of the world, the United States of America. They're sending all the arms up there up right now. If you was rushing you, it's over 10 billion already there and sent up there, and they send troops close by now because they wanted to shook the dog. They want to shook the dog a little more for him to tell bombs either in Poland or in Georgia or one of these places. Whoever coming to help Ukraine, so that everybody going to rush behind Russia. That is not my main point, you know. You see, for the last 40 years, America have been spreading warfare throughout the whole world. No peace, no way. Check it out. And America, as I show you, never win no war. None at all. They never win a war. The last one is Afghanistan, and look at how they went out. If you was watching you, a big plane going out and thousands of people running down the plane. I want to go to America now. But I want people, black people, Africans, stay away from America. Don't support America in nothing they're doing right now. Look to Africa, please. Africa Union, all you have to be more strong than that. All you have to be stronger than that. Right now, all you're showing weakness in bringing mercenaries to help all you fight, all your own people. All you try and solve the problem. Why the fight? Because most of the people being killed is women and children, the future generation. And like if all you're laughing at that, please, all you get together. Thank you very much, Brother David.
Thank you, my brother. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Mohammed.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about one of your callers who called and said that the Caribbean people who were protesting by the Nucleamics factory, they were not protesting for new lands, you know, they were protesting the visa package, which is almost 20 years old, that the government has not honored. Quite a number of people never received their residential lots. The lots are in abeyance. They have no infrastructure in quite a number of them. Some of them never got their agricultural land.
Right.
And this thing about Indians getting land...
Wait. Was that this program?
Yeah. The gentleman was talking about how people were protesting by the Nucleamics for asking for more land again. They were not asking for more land. They were just asking for the land that they have supposed to get from the 2003 visa package under Patrick Madden.
Okay.
And Mr. Patrick Madden wanted the visa package to be so lucrative because he was hell-bent on closing on Caroni that he offered land and money and whatever. So for your caller to come and say it's new land, because what he said, what the people were protesting that in a short space, about 2 years, Nucleamics, some bigwig associated with the PNM, got 50 acres of land down Cuba there, and these people waiting since 2003 to get the land, and they're not getting it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Caller, good morning.
Morning, Brother David.
How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm so happy this morning after coming at the Kwame Tourist Center yesterday. After one, and I met a young man outside the door, one of the vendors.
Yes.
David Williams. His name is David Williams, I think. That young guy, that young boy, is so... Here, a man, I've never seen somebody total a bill And do it so correct, David. Oh my God. A guy came and he was before me. He was buying things from him.
Yeah.
And when the guy asked him, what's the total? What's my bill? What's my total? Listen now, when that guy started total, you swear he have a calculator in his hand. No, Brother David, I mean, I want to say praises. I want to say narrate more to his parents, because he told me his mom is inside.
Yes.
And he has four. Boy, that boy is a real entrepreneur. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, that would actually have been the son of Dr. Desmond Phillips.
Oh, it's Phillips, he said, not Williams. Oh my God, I'm calling the boy's name wrong.
Yeah, he's a young genius. He's a young genius.
Yes, listen, Brother David. I say, and that boy gave me so much info. You know, you go to some places and they say, well, no. And they go to the vendors. That boy gave me information, when to come, what days babies be there. Listen, man, good Lord. I said, no, I cannot walk away and then buy anything from this young man. And I bought what I needed from him there. I say, I must speak about it this morning. To his mom and his dad, you all have a young genius on your hands. You know, he reminds me of my first son when he was about 6, 7. I went to grocery with him, and when I put my stuff up and before the cash register ring off the total, this boy say, I watch him, the cashier watch him, and exactly, oh my God, and today, thank God, he became a junior economist at Central Bank. I thank God for, pursuing his studies. So I want to say to that young man's parents, don't let that talent go to waste, because he is so good. And I want to thank him for all his information that he gave to me yesterday, Brother David. Oh my God, I don't want to even say anything. One thing I will say, because I called to say other things, but I say I'll speak about him first. What you spoke of about people, that elderly man going in and reporting about people invading his home.
Yeah, the home invasions.
Brother David, I heard of more than that from people.
Several.
That. And I don't understand. And when I hear people saying, "Oh, and Gary Griffith, and he cut down the crime," all of that went through under Gary Griffith, and I keep telling the person who told me, I say, why don't you come public with this? I said, you can't be experiencing this, and you have a commissioner who talking about he smashing the cockroaches and people invading your home, and nobody in Besson Street, no police officer in Besson Street doing anything? Come on, man. I don't know, people sometimes just call the radio station for them there's only called to talk about Kamala and Dr. Rowley. No, you have to raise these. Only sometimes when you bring these things public, you get results. And I was so upset. I mean, yes, it was a life loss, yes, on Friday morning, whatever. But there was a home invasion in Alice Glen also.
But there were 18 for the year. I heard the news say 18 for the year.
And Brother David, I started to question the person, because Brother David, up to now, I haven't heard that home invasion in Alice Glen on the news. So I called, I say, you sure there was a home invasion in Alice Glen? Yes, but everything was focused. West Marin, the Syrian lady got killed. Yes, there's a life loss and whatever, but they're right down in Diamondville, Brother David, home invasion. Yep. I could tell you, it had one last month. And
one in St. Augustine, another one, yeah.
Brother David, it's sad. It's sad. So y'all highlight these things. Brother David, have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Same to you. All right, last caller. Just have some seconds.
I'll try to be as quick as possible, but I just want to touch on the same issue.
Yes.
Because the only time now you hear in calling programs how to rehabilitate the youth and all of that is because somebody in West Mooring Listen, home invasions and murders going on in the East-West corridor all over, all the time.
All the time. Now more than ever before.
It's business as usual. But now, all of a sudden, they are calling in to find out how to rehabilitate our young people and what is going on with. And once again, the face of the African youth is painted as the only person committing crime. You know? And these things are so terrible. As regard to Putin and they come in with the brush that to paint and say that, you know, he's mad. He's mad. He's crazy. A man is in the top of position in his country, run a political campaign and everything, but all of a sudden now he's a madman. That's the brush that they use to paint people.
Yes. So sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I feel you. So this is where I leave it for today. Of course, I'll be back on next week Saturday. So all day today at the Kwame Ture Center, African Expo number 11. Come down and support Black enterprise. And then tomorrow, back at the Kwame Ture Center again from 3 p.m. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, leader of the Nation of Islam, addresses the world. A message that will be translated into numerous languages to be broadcasted in numerous countries on every single continent. A message of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And we will be hosting a viewing of it at the Kwame Ture Center tomorrow from 3 p.m. We don't have the regular 11 a.m. meeting tomorrow, so 3 p.m. And of course, it's also on Gael TV and on NOI.org. Stay tuned to the Street 919 FM. May Almighty God Allah continue to bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.